Welcome back. Saying Quebec is a distinct society gets many Canadians riled up. But the fact is, that province is very different when it comes to amateur sports. Their athletes receive tremendous financial support from Quebec business. The provincial media follows their every move, both nationally and internationally. Even their education system allows for their unique contributions. For more than a decade, Quebec's been the only province offering a specialized high school program for students who wish to pursue a career in elite sport. Many Quebecers believe the program is the reason why so many of their athletes win Olympic medals. Here's Babinski in Montreal.
Michael Zatilny works on his fancy footwork every day. He's been doing it as long as he can remember. He first put on figure skates 10 years ago when he was just 3 years old.
It's been a long time. I always wanted to be an Olympic champion.
Zatilny is one of the bright prospects in Quebec figure skating. A top novice skater, he hopes to compete at the Nationals this year. Zatilny is in his second year of high school. He attended a private school last year north of Montreal. But the demands of school and skating were almost too much. He felt he was stretched too thin.
It's very tough. You have to skate a lot of time, do studies a lot of time. It takes like 3 hours studies because it's so hard. Like I couldn't do it.
We found that because of the demands of school and the studies and so on, we were not able to give them enough time to practice on the ice. And that meant coming home and getting into studies, and later on in the evening going out and practicing on the ice and so on. Coming home and continuing the studies and going to bed at 11, sometimes as late as midnight. This definitely was not the way to go.
So do you have any exams this morning?
The Zatilnys found a new way to go this fall. The road leads to Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. It's one of 22 schools in Quebec offering a program called Sport Etudes, or Sport Studies. Michael is one of 250 students in the program at this school alone. His day starts as early as it did last year, but it doesn't last nearly as long. He's in class at 8, he's out at noon, and then it's off to the arena for several hours of training with his skating club before he goes home to eat, study, and sleep.
Imagine going to school for just half a day and playing sports the other half. Sounds like a dream come true for most kids. But if you talk to the people who run this program, they'll tell you it's no piece of cake.
It is demanding. It is demanding, especially, as I told you, because they have to succeed to stay in this program.
Ralph Biton says 4 students were expelled from this school's program last year because of poor marks. Students need an overall average of 75%. It requires a lot of discipline, but the incentive is all that extra time to train.
From what I hear from students who are in the program is some of them are so happy being in this program because finally they can practice the sport the way they want to.
The pressure on 13-year-olds like Zatilny is enormous. If he wants to make it to the Nationals, he needs a lot of time every afternoon to train.
For skating, there's a lot involved. We got to learn. Now it's more technically advanced, and we're doing quadruples and earlier and younger, and more triples and more all over, all around. So we're trying to get to them to be doing this also younger.
The Zatilnys hope Michael can perfect his triples and still perfect his arithmetic. Here's how the Sport Etudes program works. Class time is reduced to 4 hours from the regular 6. Teachers simply move through the material more quickly. A small class size helps make that possible. Students like Zatilny are also expected to do more homework than average. They have to make every minute of the day count. Thousands of kids have been through the program since it started informally at one school 15 years ago. Parents with kids in a sports club near Montreal were looking for help from their school.
In the high school, it started too on the South Shore with a couple of kids that needed a special schedule, and the club got into business with the school.
Once word was out about the program in one school, people around the province started pushing for it. The Ministry of Education was open to the idea of spreading the program, eventually establishing formal guidelines. It's a partnership between schools and sports federations. The schools take care of the mind, the local sports club takes care of the body.
Front 3.5.
Alexandre Despatie is a phenom.
Oh my gosh. Another rip entry from Alex. Not just a rip entry, there was no splash whatsoever. That dive was unbelievable.
He burst onto the scene 2 years ago when he won a gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. He followed that with a 4th place finish on the tower at the Sydney Olympics in September. Not bad for a 15-year-old. While he was in Sydney, other kids in his class were already hitting the books.
A whole month. The whole first month of school, and I'm on a tough year. Grade 10 is very hard, so it's a lot of work to do.
Despatie's mother has watched in amazement and with pride. She says Sport Etudes will help get Alexandre through. Last year, in the run-up to the Olympics, he completed his year, even though he missed 4 months of class.
Gold medal, Nestor and Leroux.
Sébastien Larreau was one of the first graduates of the Sport Etudes program. André Martin remembers when Larreau started. Martin is a former Pro Tour player who's now in charge of player development for the Quebec Tennis Federation.
Sébastien went to Sport Etudes when he was in secondary 3. And then before that, he was trained like 10 hours a week. That was not enough. So what happened is he trained much more, 20 hours a week. So that's what allowed him to live also a life with his family, because before that, he was always running, all the time. They're never home. They come home, it's 8 o'clock, they have not eaten supper, and they certainly have not studied.
Martin says Quebec has dominated Canadian tennis for the last 10 years, thanks in large part to Sport Etudes.
Emily Hayman's on the left, and Momini on the right.
At the Sydney Olympics, Quebec could lay claim to 7 of Canada's 14 medals. As a matter of fact, at the last 4 Olympics, summer and winter, Quebec has had a hand in 29 of Canada's 64 medals. Canadian sports administrators met in Calgary recently. On the agenda, they were talking about the best way to develop high-performance athletes while ensuring they get an education. Many people wanted to find out more about Quebec.
I think there was a feeling of envy of what Quebec has tried to do, has been able to do.
John Bales is the head of the Coaching Association of Canada. He says no other province offers a similar program. There's a scattering of sports schools across the country. Most are privately run and can be costly to attend. They usually specialize in one sport, like hockey or skiing. He says he's not sure how easy it'll be to convince other provincial governments to create programs similar to Quebec's.
They've had budget cuts in most provinces over the last 5 to 8 years. And here's another kind of special interest group coming forward. We have this need. So, I mean, you have to feel that they're in a difficult position.
While the medal count keeps getting higher here in Quebec, there's yet to be a wider review of the program's impact on society, about what kind of value system it's promoting, and about what the impact is on kids when you take them out of the mainstream. But some people, including at least one skater at this club, are deciding not to opt into the program.
I like being like everyone else, first of all. I don't like showing off everything. And I like my friends, my schedule and all. I think I don't need to have a different way of having school.
Sonia Maillard is in grade 9 at a private school in Montreal. The school doesn't cut her any slack because she's an elite athlete. She admits her schedule is demanding, but she doesn't want to change schools just to train more.
This training program is 4 times a week. I don't think I need more. I would be too tired. I know too many people who got burnt out and forgot the sport because they didn't like it anymore, and I don't want to turn out like that.
For Michael Zatilny, so far so good. He says he's got time to skate more, to finish his homework, and to get to bed by 9. The people who run the program say they just want families like the Zatilnys to have a choice. Tom Zatilny is hoping they've made the right one.
I'd say it's his, first of all, his school, his marks in school. That's, again, I mentioned that's a priority to me. That's important. And of course, the quality of a skate. And if we see a nice, a better, you know, he skates better now than he did when he first started, and he's doing well in school, then I guess it's success. And we will continue into the next year.